Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Tiana here once again, and I am back for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Princess Peach Showtime for the Nintendo Switch. So, last time, we've essentially did manage to finally wrap up everything for the hide and seek challenges by finding the final 5 of those ninja people, specifically in a basement floor. And what's the reward after completing everything in a hide and seek challenge? Why, simply about the fact that we somehow got ourselves our new dress, as you can see on screen. So yeah, everything else will be pretty much accounted for, so everything else will become to expect. So today, for this video, is about the fact that we're about to continue things on and move on to the next thing, and that's what appears to be the rehearsals. So, naturally speaking, I was about the fact that there's only like 5 rehearsals in total, so this means in order to be able to actually access to every single rehearsals is by going from floor to floor. So for instance, the first rehearsal we're going to be tackling through is, if I recall correctly, what appears to be buddy forms of Sword Fighter Peach, and that's going to take place in floor 1. And as a result, in order to be able to actually go through different rehearsals, we have to go from floor to floor, like I said before. So naturally speaking, I was about the fact that this is the next thing we're about to tackle through. So anyways, without further ado, let's get this thing to it, shall we? So, as far as what Sonic and Amy has already mentioned about this, ever since Journey Forms have been yesterday, jeez, it's been a very long while, hasn't it? Especially concerning for the fact that I was originally trying to able to actually continue playing for this game during at some point on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but as a result it's now been delayed until today, which today's date of course there is the 29th of June today, in some cases in 2024 today. So generally speaking though, it's about the fact I believe we've only got about 2 more days to go until we move on to not only for the 7th month, which appears to be July, but it's also about the fact that we've almost approaching on to the second half in terms of 2024. So generally speaking, I was about the fact that I will discuss more about the forms of our opinions about the forms of the first half of the year plays out to be. Well, as a result, no matter what though, it's probably best if we're able to actually just to mention more about it during at some point until tomorrow, because as far as what Sonic has already mentioned about this ever since and yesterday as well, that I think it's definitely possible for me to able to actually finish up everything in this game during at some point in this particular weekend as far as this is concerned. So, because like I said before, it's about the fact that today's date, of course, there is the 29th of June. So, generally speaking, I was about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, I was about the fact that, as you can tell, on these rehearsals right there, as you can tell, there are 3 different rewards you can get depending on how well you did for certain rehearsals. So the first rehearsal we are tackling through, as you can tell, as I said this before, it appears to be buddy forms of Sword Fighter Peach. So basically in this segment right here, that the entire section is auto-scrolling, and as a result it's your job to able to actually take down as many of those enemies as you could, and then the highest score you can get up to, like, as you can tell, in order to able to get the gold trophy right there, we need to reach up for about 140 points, and as a result, not only you can able to actually get some more coins, which by that time we've got plenty of coins as a result, because clearly no matter what though, there's nothing we can able to spend on at the moment when it comes to the forms of the dress shop, at least until specifically later on. But it's also, as you can see, we're able to actually access to one of those unlockables, if you couldn't tell. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool and everything, especially concerning for the fact that at this point in time, that hopefully we will able to actually guarantee to able to approach onto the final stretch when it comes to likely for its true 100% completion. So because of that though, even though there's one thing you might able to realize about something is that you can't able to actually get these sparkle gems until whenever we get on to the final point of the entire playthrough, and that's what appears to be the boss challenges, which as a result, we'll do those and during at some point until tomorrow. So anyway, so that pretty much does it for the Sword Fighter rehearsal. And now we're moving on to Dashing Thief rehearsal, which I will admit though right away, this rehearsal is pretty tricky to able to actually get the gold trophy from. Plus it's clearly because you have to memorize the forms of this particular layout, because as you can tell, in order to able to actually just to get some points, as you can tell, we need to obtain a certain amount of gold diamonds. So yeah, no matter what though, if you get hits just like that, basically though, your session ends. So because of this though, yeah, this will take me a couple of tries to able to actually just to get this right, because as I said this before, sometimes you have to memorize the forms of this particular layout when it comes to this obstacles. So because of this though, yeah, it's definitely a little bit tricky. So because of that though, something's worth noting for, actually, relatively speaking though, is about the fact that you probably already know that it's been about 15 years ago since Michael Jackson dies. So as a result, it's kind of shocking to looking back on it though, especially concerning for the fact that obviously he did die since in 2009, specifically on the 25th of June. So as a result, that's something that Sonic or Amy have both forgot to mention about that during that specific topic, since in Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. So because of this though, speaking of which though, is about the fact that from what I can gather, that both Sonic and Amy are almost finishing up everything for Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, which obviously, I believe, if they somehow manage to able to complete the game, they'll be relieved to able to actually just somehow manage to able to get that game done and over with, before they somehow realized about the fact that hopefully though we can able to actually play some much more better Sonic games during the actual Let's Play department just before, you know, Sonic Cross Shadow Generations is almost approaching. So because of this though, and I believe, fundamentally speaking though, is about the fact that since then about the fact that I believe we've only got about 27 more days to go, not only for the sake of the forms of one of those films is going to be releasing, specifically Deadpool and Wolverine, but it's also about the fact that the Paris Olympics, specifically Paris 2024 opening ceremony Summer Olympics, is almost going to be approaching. So because of that though, yeah, I'm still very curious to check it out, especially concerning for the fact that, unfortunately though, that Mario and Sonic at the Paris 2024 Olympics does not get revealed, which as a result, this is the reason why about the fact that I'm pretty sure that we're about to be getting a different kind of game during the forms within the mobile devices. So as a result, I don't think the next Mario and Sonic game is going to happen, unfortunately. Especially, I did have some high expectations to be able to actually make it happen, but unfortunately though, that's not the case. But luckily though, as far as I'm aware, that Sonic has completely forgot to mention about this during the forms within yesterday, that during the forms of the most recent Nintendo Direct, since in during the forms of around 11 days ago actually, that basically we're able to get ourselves a brand new Mario Party game at some point in during the forms within this year, specifically once again in October, just like the forms of how it does it in not only Super Mario Party, but as well as Mario Party Superstars. And that game is going to be called Super Mario Party Jamboree, which is basically a sequel to Super Mario Party ever since in 2018. So yes, it's been 6 years ago since Super Mario Party first been announced, since in 2018 for the sake of E3 2018. So, however, unlike in Super Mario Party, where basically those about the fact that, you know how the fact that we somehow criticize with the forms of these boards in that game is actually not only pretty lame, but it's also about the fact that it's extremely small, and on top of that, there's only 4 boards, not counting the forms of the actual partner party counterparts. But thankfully though, in during the forms of the upcoming Super Mario Party Jamboree, not only does it contain 5 brand new boards, but also 2 boards based off of one of them is actually from Mario Party 1, as well as one of those boards in Mario Party 2, making a grand total of 7 boards total ever since in both Mario Party 9 as well as Mario Party Island Tour. So as a result, that's more like it, especially concerning for the fact that unlike in Mario Party 10 only has 5 boards in Mario Party mode, whilst in Bowser Party only features 3 boards, whilst meanwhile for Mario Party Star Rush technically does have 15 boards total, specifically in Toad Scramble mode, and on top of that with Balloon Bash mode only has 3 boards. And on the topic of boards though, is about the fact that when it comes to the size of the boards in Super Mario Party Jamboree, I think similar to the forms of how it does it in Mario Party Superstars, I believe the board size is going to be a lot bigger than the forms of how it does it in the original Super Mario Party, which I think is a massive step up from the likes of in Super Mario Party. And as far as I'm aware, also is about the fact that much like in Super Mario Party, the character roster is going to get a lot more bigger. So because of that though, currently at the moment right now, we're about to be getting ourselves 21 playable characters for right now. So generally speaking though, I think it's probably best if we let Sonic will mention more about it when he and Amy were both coming back onto playing through Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. So because of this though, yeah, as you can tell about the fact that after all, we somehow managed able to completely done everything for the sake of the forms of Cowgirl Rehearsal. So naturally speaking though, it doesn't take me that long to complete, especially concerning for the fact that all you have to really do on Cowgirl Rehearsal is pretty simple. It's about the fact that we have to rescue certain people by simply trying to able to actually use the lasso, so that way we can able to actually grab certain barrels, and you have to avoid the actual TNT barrels, because again, if you dare touch something hazardous, basically though, that'll be your end of your run. So anyway, so now let's move on to the next rehearsal, which appears to be also very easy and self-explanatory as well. And that's what appears to be Kung Fu Rehearsal. So because of this though, and I believe, fundamentally speaking though, this is going to be the final time we can able to actually become one of those transformations. So, and as you can tell, despite the fact I just got hit right there, but that's okay for me, especially concerning for the fact that you don't need to necessarily worry about the forms of the time limit. So naturally speaking, all you have to really do with those specific high scores you need to reach up to, basically you have to able to actually get a certain amount of points, and once you reach the gold trophy, it really doesn't matter if you're able to let the time run out, or if you essentially get hit by certain hazards. So naturally speaking though, we somehow managed to deal with this particular rehearsal no problem. So, and now we've come to the final rehearsal, which appears to be located on the 5th floor. And as far as I'm aware, the final rehearsal we're going to be run into, and that's what appears to be Mighty Peach. So, anyways, back onto that particular topic, where it comes to the forms of Super Mario Party Jamboree. As far as I'm aware, Kamek is once again not going to be playable in that game, but that's okay though, because obviously though, not only does it able to actually bring back the majority of those playable characters, not only from Mario Party Superstars, but also with the forms of Super Mario Party as well, with only 4 exceptions so far. But it's also worth noting for, thank goodness, not only does Toad make his playable debut again, but same applies with Toadette, neither with Spike from Mario Party 10. So yeah, it's actually pretty cool to me though, that not only I can able to actually play as Toad again, ever since in Mario Party Star Rush, but as well as Toadette as well, also from Mario Party Star Rush. And naturally speaking, that was about the fact that I honestly did not expect to able to actually see Spike become playable again after Mario Party 10, and out of nowhere as well, we're about to be getting ourselves a brand new playable character in Super Mario Party Jamboree, and that's what appears to be Ninja, because I'm pretty sure the last time that Ninja was become playable was back in Mario Golf Super Rush. Well, despite the fact that that particular character was locked out behind, you know, free update system. And potentially speaking of which, when it comes to Mario Sports related, it's kind of unfortunate that we didn't seem able to actually get any luck when it comes to able to actually revealing the next entry in the series, when it comes to not only for the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games franchise, but it's also with Mario Baseball, as well as Mario Basketball related. So because of that though, oh well, beggars can't be choosers I guess, especially concerning for the fact that, again, it's probably best if we let both Sonic or Amy will both mention more about the forms of some more Nintendo Direct announcements during the forms of that particular, you know, continuation uploading schedules for the majority of Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. So, but either way though, I'm only talking about one game in particular, which I was really looking forward to, and I believe, fundamentally speaking though, I'm sure about the fact that Pinkie Pie will also going to be involved with this as well, especially concerning for the fact that she loves parties so much. So as a result, no matter what though, is about the fact that now, when it comes to what I've noticed something, is about the fact that they decided able to bring back the familiar gameplay mode, and that's what appears to be inspired by Coin Athlon since Mario Party Star Rush, except the fact that it's going to called Koopa-Athlon. So because of that though, yeah, it's pretty much exactly similar to the forms of how it does it for Coin-Athlon since Mario Party Star Rush, but the noticeable difference is this time, not only it can't be able to actually accessible for online play, but it's also, it actually brings us into a grand total of 20 players. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool and everything. And on top of all that stuff though, is about the fact that it also shows us about the fact that we're expecting to get 110 mini-games total for Super Mario Party Jamboree. So, kind of think about it, to me though, when it comes to the forms of certain content we've got for Super Mario Party Jamborees for so far, it feels like a combination of the forms of both Super Mario Party as well as Mario Party Superstars, because obviously though is about the fact that, well, in regards to the forms of the character roster, it's going to get a lot more expansive, and on top of all that stuff though, as I mentioned this before, not only does it brings us 5 brand new boards, which they're pretty cool and interesting, especially the ones in the shopping mall, which appears to be Rainbow Galleria. So as a result, no matter what though, is about the fact that I'm pretty sure that certain boards will have its own gimmick. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool and everything. So generally speaking though, I am super excited about that particular game is going to be releasing. And I think, when it comes to the release date of that game, as far as I'm aware, I think it's about to due out, as I said before, it's about the fact that it's going to be once again going to be releasing in October, just like in Super Mario Party as well as Mario Party Superstars, except the fact that it's going to be releasing on a different day, for not only for its numbered date, but it's also with the forms of the day of the week. Because normally, in Super Mario Party as well as Mario Party Superstars, that they both came out on Friday, usually. So now, ever since in Journey forms of later on in 2024, as a matter of fact, the majority of these Nintendo Switch games are now going to be releasing on Thursdays. So, as a result, it's going to be releasing on Thursday, the 17th of October. So yeah, that's actually pretty, cool thing to noticing this, especially concerning for the fact that at this point in time, that I think it's about to due out around, let's just say, 8 days before Sonic Cross Shadow Generations will be releasing during that specific time period as well. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool, especially concerning for the fact that at this point in time, that we're about to be getting a whole bunch of October released games. And it's also worth noting for is about the fact that when it comes to, you know, Super Mario Party Jamboree, as I said before, is going to be releasing on the 17th of October on Thursday in this year. And it's also worth noting for it's going to be releasing in just about 6 days after Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. So because of this though, yeah, that's actually pretty awesome to me, especially concerning for the fact, it's a shame about the fact I still can't seem to able to actually get Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which I'm really still hoping about the fact that that particular game will be releasing on the Nintendo Switch successor or something, but then again though, time will tell, especially concerning for the fact that we shall wait and see what happens. So, and also as far as I'm aware, much like the forms of how it does it on Super Mario Party, certain mini-games can only be controlled with the Joy-Con controllers, which it might bother a lot of people, but thankfully though, from what I found out, you can also play the game with it not only with the actual Nintendo Switch Lite, but it's also about the fact that the Pro Controller was also, works in that game. Although, keep this in mind though, is about the fact that it only works for certain mini-games that are utilized with the button controls. So, naturally speaking, when it comes to certain motion-controlled mini-games, can only be played with the Joy-Con controllers. So, that's something worth noting for to able to recap upon. So, yeah, that's as far as I can try and able to explain about this for the sake of time. So, anyways though, so now we've actually completed everything for the rehearsals department. So naturally speaking we can now able to actually select up to 5 different dresses for Peach. So naturally speaking it's about the fact that this is all pretty simple patterns. So nothing else I could really say about that. So as far as I'm aware is about the fact that we've now onto the final stretch where it comes to the forms of the 100% completion. Although I will admit though right away is that with the forms of the Mighty rehearsal, it did take me about a couple of tries to able to actually complete everything in that particular rehearsal when it comes to getting that gold trophy and everything. but regardless of everything else though, we did somehow accomplish that okay enough. So with that being said folks, is that we get endings of this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Princess Peach Showtime. Is that we're about to be moving on to the final thing before we end off the entire game. And that's what appears to be the boss challenges. So that means we're about to get the final few sparkle gems. So I'll see you guys until tomorrow. Later fellas.